Talk.
We have it on video.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll show you.
Watch it on
Check my YouTube channel. Check my YouTube channel.
Exactly.
To be released in July. Yeah.
Anyways.
And why is the dog on my couch?
Love it.
So
I love her.
So
she's like a
whale.
It's like
She's a beached whale.
I own those plugs.
She's a beached whale.
Anyways, you had an audience.
So we had an audience with these cows.
Right.
Cows standing there.
What was the moment where you're like, okay, I'm gonna ask, I'm gonna propose? Because I think this is so interesting in the sense of like, what made you realize it's not gonna get better? You know, it's and then in the sense of like,
This is
the best. Sorry.
Hilarious.
No, in terms of like, this is the best
Moment.
you can do.
No, this is the negative. This is like the German way to express that. What I'm trying to say is to just like.
You can say it in German if you want.
No.
I wouldn't get
Het
it.
wordt niet beter dan dit.
Sorry.
I understand.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's like the idea.
It doesn't get better.
No, exactly. It's in a positive way that you say, okay, you know, this is perfect. This is like the best that could have happened to me.
Yeah.
I'm super happy. I'm super, and really, this is what I mean. It couldn't have gotten better.
Yeah.
And a very
get any better than this. Is I think the better the.
Yes.
That's a better
my English is
translation.
shit. Sorry, my English is shit.
He speaks very good English.
Shitty English. It's an antler.
An antler.
It's from Finland.
You know, it's actually
It's Finnish.
Finnish.
It's not German.
Yeah, I know. It says Finland on it. Finnish antler.
Finnish antler.
Lucy also eats antlers as bones, but she never finishes them.
Do not give it to her because it's Karina's and she's gonna kill me.
Oh yeah. Let's not do that.
No.
Do you have a beer?
Yes.
Do you do it?
No.
No?
No.
Isn't that a
Take another
traditional
bottle.
German thing?
No.
No? Oh, I can
When you're
do that.
15.
I did that in Holland. I can do that. But what do you do with this one then? Zeer goed. Very good. So I want to welcome you to Frogland. I actually, whether you know this or not, consider you to be a brother of mine. You're the fourth son to my mom. I truly consider you to be, you know, my brother from another mother.
Absolutely.
Given that I met you when we met when we were babies, but I think I, you know, really first met you when I was 14, I think.
I think so. It was like
2004, was it?
No,
the first time
before.
you came?
No, it was before. 2002 because 2004 I went to Catholic high school.
So I was 12.
It must have been, yeah.
Wow. You came to live with my family in Knoxville, Tennessee, and stayed with us for the first time for 1 month, and then you came back several other times. I think it was then 2004 you came for 6 months.
Correct.
And you lived with our family, and you went to a local high school in Knoxville, a Catholic high school.
Correct.
Because the public high school in Farragut, where I went, in Knoxville, was full and didn't have enough space, I think.
Exactly.
So you guys had to, so you went to the Catholic high school. Your parents sent you to live with us because our parents are friends.
Correct.
And they met each other. I always think like 20 years ago.
But
you know,
not 20
years ago.
It's not 20 years ago.
Frozen in time, like 45 years ago now.
Like
1985 or something.
Something like that. Something between like 85, 86, 82, something like that area. My dad came to Florida to do his LLM, which is a 3-trimester program. And my mom just came with him writing her thesis.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
And so my dad had been in engineering school at the University of Florida for like a year or two.
Right.
And my mom as well. I think she was going to Daytona Beach Community College. So they're living in in Gainesville in Florida.
Right.
And
we actually were there without you.
I know. The story goes that your parents were, these exchange students, University of Florida, living in some small house in Gainesville, and my parents were living next door. They were the neighbors.
Exactly.
And my parents ran into yours, and then I think invited them over for drinks. Maybe my dad said, bring over a case of beer. And your dad brought over a suitcase full of beer. Yeah.
Right.
So that's the first time I think that they made contact back in 84, 85, something like that.
Yeah.
You have a brother,
Correct.
Tobias, and I have 2 brothers, Jordan and Jared.
Right.
And we all met each other when we were babies, but I don't remember that at all.
I actually remember that quite frankly. It must have been something, I think it must have been like 92, 93, because I have like some very little memories of that. So we met in Florida. I have a memory of your house where the living room was not furnished. It was an unfurnished room, which I thought was really cool. It was the playground basically for us. You guys had a swimming pool, which was awesome. We loved that. I remember, funny thing, having for breakfast we had cereal with honey. Like I have random memories of that time.
Special
and
things.
with honey, and then there's like the honey was in a bear, like in a bear bowl. So that was like one of the things. Honey bear. Yeah. So that was cool. I remember playing baseball with your parents or with your dad and your brother.
And at that young.
Yeah, I think
in Florida.
we were throwing baseballs. I mean, that's like one memory.
You must have been.
I was like
5,
4 or 5. Yeah.
Okay.
And I remember seeing an alligator in like
in the neighborhood.
In the neighborhood, or like in the hotel area that we stayed in for a few days too.
Okay.
So I have few memories. And I learned the word honey. That was like the first English word I learned.
Really?
Honey. Yeah.
No way. Yeah. That's funny. Okay.
And that's all connected to you and your family.
You're welcome.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Fast forward 15 years, your parents send you to get a cultural experience in Tennessee.
No, it was even funny.
us.
It was even funnier. I was telling my mom. So that was the time when American Pie was big.
Yeah.
You know, like the good times, so to say. Like we were young and.
Yeah, well, one time at band camp, I stuck a flute.
I was telling my mom, so Mom, I really want to go to high school, to college, and live in the US at some point in my life.
Oh, okay.
And that all started, I can really recall this conversation with my mom was in the car, and then she said, yeah, we can figure something out. And this is when she said, okay, I have friends in
Okay. So it was your idea?
It was my idea.
Before, okay.
And then she called up your parents and asked if I could come over, so I spent a month with you guys. So
wow.
That's how everything started. Everything was easy, people are going to college, and when you're like 12, 13 years old in Cottbus, like a little town close to Berlin, you're like, hey, this looks awesome. And then for some reason my dad always took me to American football games in Cottbus. So we have like a very shitty American football team.
Oh, really?
And he always was like, hey, American culture is interesting, American culture is cool. And
I didn't know
that's
that.
how I got attached to it too.
Interesting. I didn't know the backstory. I thought it was like, your parents were like, hey, let's get this kid to another country and have him see the world a little bit. Because you've always had, which I think I have a little bit too, this curiosity of living in other places. You ended up coming, many times to live with us in our family. Then I think years later you went to Texas A&M during your university period in Germany. You came to Texas for was it a year you were there?
It was a 10-month exchange program.
10 month, right. So you've always been, let's say, culturally curious. Is to go abroad and to live in other places. And one of my first memories of being with you, we were playing basketball because we had a basketball goal in our driveway. I just remember meeting you and was like, you had long hair. You were from somewhere else. You were like, who is this guy? I was like,
what is he doing?
What is he doing here? Like,
we didn't have the best start, to be honest.
Actually, I don't think I liked you. I think
yeah.
There's some times where I think you and Jordan, because you're older too, you're kind of picking on me.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and I just have this like vivid memory, like kind of like the honey bear for you, maybe. But you guys did something, and I got pissed off, and I grabbed like a shampoo, it was this like blue liquid shampoo, and like threw it, and like all over it on the wall.
It was the Old Spice, like the big red bottle of Old Spice.
The blue shampoo or something.
Yes.
It took me a little while to kind of just get accustomed to this kid living in our house.
Right. From
Germany. Where's that? You know?
It was. To be honest, I never thought of that in that way.
Which part?
And in the sense of like, from your perspective, that it's weird for someone else coming in. It was like I was hanging out with. I mean, I was hanging out with Jordan. What it felt like for most of the time.
Yeah.
Like
we didn't become friends till probably later.
I think it was like 2 years later because I came back to Knoxville and it was like right after my exchange program, and I was like, okay, now it's getting serious. And Jordan was going to college at the University of Tennessee, and I think we started hanging out at some point. There was like you were picking me up from your parents' place, going to the rugby house and stuff like that. And this is actually where we started like hitting out, hanging out, talking, and then
And then in 2009 is when I took my first trip abroad ever. Right. And I went traveling with my Aunt Popo, my Aunt Rosemary, who kind of inspired my travel and took me to several countries. As a part of that trip in 2009, that's when I came to stay with you.
Right.
So I met you. Oh boy, we got some stories there. I came to stay in Tübingen with you, where your college was.
Correct.
Had a nice time there. That was
Right.
good. Met several of your friends who I still even know today.
Right.
And
we went to Paris. Yeah.
There's this infamous picture of you and I leaning out of the hostel, like
brushing our teeth.
I
have some memories. We had a layover in Zurich. So I had a wheelchair race.
Oh yeah, I have a video of that somewhere.
We have this wheelchair race in Zurich. There's a picture of that. Yeah, and it's like we're taking the wheelchairs.
Sorry, Grace. Number one. If we can figure out how to do these wheelchairs. Hey, I'm gonna be one-handed though. I can't do this. Yeah, you like. Andrew, me, going down all the way to the stairs. Ready? No. Do it. Good. 3. Here's a flying start. It's like the Tour de France on wheelchairs, dude.
And then we had like the
police person.
The police coming around. So
hey, excuse me.
I have this picture when we're in the Louvre, and there's like some museum.
Yeah,
there's like bare-breasted woman that we're covering there.
We're doing some things that we get canceled today.
We have the douche breathing picture. We have.
But there's the story
with Mitch.
Mitch.
My name is Mitch.
Oh god. So we're staying in a hostel in Paris.
Right.
And it had like 2 or 3 bunk beds in the hostel, right? And we got to the room, you and I, we checked in. There was an Australian guy. Maybe he was already drinking the bottle of vodka.
I just remember that he's like, "Hi, my name is Mitch, by the way."
And then he goes, my name's Mitch, by the way. All right. We went out. You and I came back at midnight or 1 or 2 or whatever. And he had fallen asleep on the top bunk.
Yeah, and I was sleeping.
Whenever he came back.
Yeah, and I was sleeping.
And you were underneath him.
Yeah, it was a bottle of vodka in the trash can.
Yeah, there was a bottle. He was drinking like hard liquor.
Right.
And you woke up to him, his pee dripping onto you in this thing. So
I remember him still sleeping while we left in the next morning.
Yeah.
One memory I have, we met some of your friends at the refugee fondue. We had the wine and baby bottles.
That's right. That's
fun.
a good place.
Pretty much, yeah.
And you can write on the walls.
That's a place where
we should go see if our message is still there. So that was our first trip of like to a city or like I started to come to Europe for, I did a little study abroad in the Netherlands in 2010. I did a semester in Spain in 2011.
That's why we met each other as well.
And so every single time I would be in Europe, you and I would take a trip.
Right.
So we went to Edinburgh, we went to
Sevilla, and then to
Sevilla in Portugal.
Yes.
Where we got pulled over at the
at the border between Portugal and Spain.
All these guys with these giant guns, and we were like, so that worked out all right. It was fun. It was a little intimidating.
Yes.
I was with Kara and Carly.
And Jordan.
Jordan was there.
Us as well.
Jordan coming to Europe. That was interesting.
That was really cool. You dropped me off at my parents had an Airbnb in
Lisbon.
That's right. You guys dropped me off, and I think my parents loved that moment when they realized that their friendship with your parents led to this, that we all hung out.
Yeah.
Meet up in Europe, and you drop me off. You casually you casually drop me off there and move along, and we stay and spend time in Lisbon. So
it was great. I mean, to see your parents as well, and the same thing for my mom. Every time I tell her I'm hanging out with Marcus, she's oh, Marcus, tell him hi. My dad as well, of course, but a lot less. The point is, like, it's a wild thing that. Through this kind of like serendipity of your parents meeting mine 50 years ago, whatever it is now, and then you planting the seed with your parents to try to go abroad, and then you coming to live with us, and it was a wild experience. So you were my first exposure to other cultures, I would say, right? Maybe other people in America are more getting experience with, Mexican or Canadian or people that are like more closely in Tennessee. You're kind of in the middle of the United States, but. Through all of that, I think it's really a part of the patchwork of my story of how I've decided to go abroad and live abroad and travel a lot, and I really do mean it when I call you brother, man. It's
I think you said it right. It's like a brother from another mother. It's like it's this very close connection. I mean, this is what I really admire in our friendship, or friendship. I think it's more than a friendship. It's like we have
love.
It's love. That's what I'm saying. No, it's really this point that we haven't seen each other for like half a year.
Yeah,
you walk
that's
in
true.
and it's just like, you're right. It's like you never left.
Pick right up.
Yeah, and it's
that's
like,
true.
and
That's
then
true.
they're coming different people into our lives, like Jana or Karina for my part now. It's like, this is Andrew. You don't have to know him. Just
It's cool.
he's
Fine.
cool. Just
Yeah.
it's fine, and it always works out. And this is something that is really cool. It's really remarkable, in my opinion, to have a friend where you like, even though you haven't heard each other or from each other in like 4 months, it's like. That
it's always back.
instant.
Yeah.
And like I know that we sometimes try to call each other and then
We're really bad at that.
Yeah, we're terrible
It's
at
like
that.
months go by.
And then it's like, oh, we need to talk. And we talk for like 10 to 15 minutes. I'm gonna call you back next week.
We'll do this more often. Make it easier.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen.
No.
No.
But it's fine.
No, we
It's
live in
perfect. You
Europe.
hit me up like on your way back now.
It works. Now we're right now in Munich.
Mhm.
You're from closer to Berlin. You're like from northeast Germany. You spent, I don't know, last 10 years in Cologne, living there.
Give or take 7 years. Give or take.
7 years, and now you've moved to Munich, where you live with your girlfriend Karina.
Correct.
Your partner here, and so you're gonna settle down, I guess, in Munich. You think?
There's at least we have like one of the. If you ask me what is the typical German thing, it's to make a plan. So
Oh yeah.
So we have something. We fondly called it Agenda 2027.
Oh, what a
So we have,
catchy
like,
name! What a catchy corporate name! Agenda 2027.
So we have like a 5 year. I don't know.
A 5-point plan. Oh,
So
please don't tell me there's a house and pillars.
No, it's not a house, not a pillar. It's
God.
just like 5 years where we like started writing down those. So what can we see, like what
do you want to do?
What do we want to do with our lives in the future? And I think for the next 2 to 3 years, I think Munich is going to be the place to be.
Okay.
For
2
us.
to 3. I'll go by in a flash.
Probably maybe like 4, but then we will see. We're open to new adventures. But
Nice.
next step, as you said, is to start settling down and having. Most likely starting a family.
Nice.
Maybe having like 1 kid, maybe 2, depending on how that goes. But
Okay.
that is
nice.
that's the plan at the
Nice.
moment.
Well,
After Oktoberfest, of course.
of course.
Of course. We can't start before that.
Of course. Again, thank you for coming on. Thank you for talking.
There you go.
Well, I hope remain friends for life. I fully expect that, and
Absolutely.
I very much look forward to having seen you guys again in Amsterdam soon. And
Thanks for having me.
of course, bro.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Markus! She just dead. I'm trying to get them to talk. I'm so, oh no. Oh. Look at him. Where is Klaus?